very good evening to you and welcome to ATN Global News. To begin, let's take a look at the headlines. NEMA speaks on impending floods. PDP vows to defend votes with blood. Wike extols two security experts. NLC, NBA partner on rule of law. Tanker explosion kills dozens in Haiti. Ndidi beats JJ Okocha's record. D'banj is first Nigerian global artist. And now to the rest of our stories. National Emergency Management Agency has warned residents of Rivers State of looming floods within the next 4 weeks. The South-South Zonal Coordinator of NEMA, Adebiyi Razak, gave the warning on Sunday in Port Harcourt. According to him, NEMA has already begun preparing residents to mitigate the impact of the floods as the intensity of the rainfall increases in the South-South, particularly in Rivers State, after visiting Ahoda West, Ahoda East, Andoni, Ndoni, Obiakpo, Oyibo, and Tai local government areas, as well as coastal areas that are likely to be impacted, adding that Tai has experienced flash floods and 2 internally displaced persons camps have been identified in the area. The South-South NEMA boss said a significant water rise in the region was imminent, especially as heavy rain in the north were draining into the South-South, adding that NEMA had already started stockpiling essential items to support local authorities if the need arises. The state coordinator also said the agency was working closely with the Rivers State Emergency Management Agency and advised the local government councils to mitigate the impact of the impending floods. Following the murder of a man, Sam Onobrakpeya, Delta State Police Commissioner CP Olufemi Abaniwanda has ordered the arrest of the interim chairman of Adagbrasa Ugolo community in Okpe local government area, Ejiro Eruteyan Eredajaye, who is now at large. Police Public Relations Officer SP Bright Dafe said in a statement in Warri that the CP has directed that the suspect must be arrested and brought to justice. He said the deceased, who was a leader of the sand beach in the community, had an argument with the fleeing chairman over a truckload of sand, and in the process a serious fight ensued, resulting in the chairman sustaining injuries in his body. Ed Dafe said the chairman rushed to the police station to investigate the matter, but was given permission by the divisional police officer to go to the hospital for treatment, while minutes later, the deceased younger brother, Prince, rushed to the police station to report that the state chairman with thugs allegedly attacked and killed his elder brother. He said when the divisional police officer probed, he discovered that the fleeing chairman only had a brief treatment at the hospital, while the CP Abaniwanda had ordered the arrest of the suspect and whoever was involved in the dastardly act. Analyst has expressed disappointment following Governor Obaseki's Do or Die campaign statement. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Open Air, a political analyst, Ndamzi Ekulo, described the speech from the Edo State Governor as undemocratic and lawless against the Code of Electoral Ethics and Conduct.
It does not show that Obaseki is democratic enough, because if he is, he shouldn't have made such a statement that the next week Saturday election is a do or die affair. And he even went ahead and threatened death. That is unacceptable, because we are only jostling to make sure that we reside in a saner society.
While Ugochukwu Ifeanyi described Edo State as being in the eyes of the storm.
You recall that the Commissioner of Police has been redeployed and someone else has taken charge. You will now know that the police want to mobilize 35,000 troops or personnel as if we are at war, and we have other places where we need them. So Edo State is in the eye of the storm, and Obaseki knows this. And Obaseki, having known that he is alone, his man alone, the Nyesom Wike that Hideto helped him in ascendance to power for his second tenure, is.
This is coming as Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki had described Saturday's governorship pool to elect his successor as a do-or-die affair for his party. The PDP, speaking at the party's rally in Benin, Governor Obaseki said this election is do or die. If they do, we will die. In view of the upcoming Edo State governorship election, the Inter-Party Advisory Council has urged stakeholders not to view the election as a war or do-or-die affair. The national chairman of IPAC, Yusuf Dantale, in a statement on Sunday after a stakeholders meeting, explained that the exercise is intended to select leaders who will promote good governance, accountability, and development, and advise all those involved in the election to prioritize peace, equity, and justice, and also called on stakeholders in the off-cycle election to collaborate to create an environment conducive to credible elections. He reminded the stakeholders that the election is not war, but simply an exercise in a democracy where voters choose leaders who will promote good governance, accountability, and development, and urged all stakeholders to adhere to the principles of democracy, respect the rights of others, and prioritize the interest of the Edo people and Nigeria in general, calling on all to join them as they work towards deepening democracy in Nigeria. He also called on voters in Saturday's governorship election to come out en masse and exercise the civic duty without hindrance, and also encourage the electorate to vote for candidates based on their manifestos, track records, and leadership qualities, and urged voters to reject any form of vote buying as it undermines the integrity of democracy, urging them to recognize that the will of the electorate is sacrosanct and must be respected. The decision to choose leaders, according to him, rests squarely on the shoulders of the people, saying that it is what makes democracy unique and should be a selfless service to the people, stressing that no responsible leader would want to force themselves upon the people, and appealed to the Independent National Electoral Commission and security agencies to remain neutral and impartial, pointing out that the roles are critical in maintaining the trust and confidence of the electorate. Akwa Ibom State Governor Umoino has charged the re-elected chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Elder Aneka Nakpan, and his executive committee to conquer new territories and expand the membership base of the party. The governor gave the charge while addressing the State Party Congress following the election of the party executive at Uyo Township Stadium, and congratulated the re-elected chairman Elder Akpan and his executive for their successful election, and assured that he will continue to lead the state with integrity and honesty, stressing that his administration would remain responsive and responsible while continuing to galvanize the youth as well as other Akwa Ibomites to arise. While congratulating the immediate past party executive for leading the party to victory in various elections in the state, he called on all party faithful to give the new executive committee the necessary support to succeed in the task ahead, especially the local government election on 5th October. Governor Eno appreciated his predecessor, Udom Emmanuel, for participating in the Congress, as well as representatives from the National Secretariat and the Congress Organizing Committee, led by Engineer Uwem Okoko, for what he described as a well-organized Congress. In his remarks, the immediate past governor, Emmanuel, expressed appreciation to the party leadership for successful driving the party to success and supporting Pastor Umoino to victory in the 2023 elections, and for his continuous support for the new leadership to succeed in the mandate. While in his acceptance speech, the re-elected chairman, Elder Aniekanakman, assured that the executive committee will work together to maintain the party's winning history and, more importantly, and also ensure the re-election of Governor Umoino in 2027. Many filling stations in Aba, the commercial nerve center of Abia State, have shut down due to high cost of sourcing petroleum products from third-party marketers other than the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. Investigation revealed that some filling stations in the city that sell petrol to the people at prices between 1,300 naira and 1,350 naira were the ones that lifted the products at cost more than NNPC controlled prices, while the executive chairman, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Aba branch, Mazi Olivia Okolo, said that the NNPC had not supplied petroleum products to their members in the past 3 months. He said the NNPC had been selling the products to some suppliers who indirectly sell the products to the IPMAN members at exorbitant prices, and called on the federal government to make the 21 NNPC refineries in the country functional to reduce the sufferings of the people. In his reactions, a member of the National Executive, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chief Godfrey Chukwunyere, said NNPC sell petrol to mega stations, major marketers, and the independent petroleum marketers at different high rates, in addition to the inexperienced personnel handling the affairs of the corporation. Chief Chukwunyere, who called for the total overhaul of the petroleum sector, appealed to the federal government to prevail on the NNPC to sell the petroleum products at uniform prices to make things easier for the people. Anambra State Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps says an accident involving 2 vehicles at Zone 13 occurred along Onisha-Nteje Oka Road, killing 2 people. The sector commander of the corps, Joyce Alexander, who confirmed the incident to newsmen in Oka, said the accident could be attributed to brake failure and loss of control. She said the accident involved an unidentified driver of a car and a driver identified as Sani Bapa, with the tanker collided and resulted to the death of the victims. While commiserating with the families of the dead, the sector commander cautioned motorists to avoid disobeying traffic rules, urging them to ensure that vehicles are serviced regularly. Enugu State Governor Dr. Peter Mba has given security agencies in the state 48 hours to fish out the killers of the chairman of Ogbete Main Market Traders Association, Chief Stephen Aniagu, vowing that no one would commit such heinous crime in the state under his watch and go scot-free. Mba also commiserated with the deceased family and Ogbete Main Market Traders Association, stressing that the market's chairman, Aniagu, was gunned down by yet-to-be-identified assailants at the outskirts of Enugu metropolis on Saturday evening. Reacting to the development on Sunday, Mba said his heart grieves over the brutal murder of the chairman of Umata, the late Chief Stephen Aniagu, and described it as a sad loss, not only to Umata as a body, but also to the entire state, and assured that security operatives will use all the technology and resources to pursue, track down, overtake, and defeat such workers of wickedness. Commiserating with Chief Aniagu's family, community, and Omata, the governor said the late markets leader served his community, the association, and Enugu State creditably. Enugu State government has banned unapproved medical outreaches in the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Ikechukwu Obi, who disclosed these in a statement in Enugu, said individuals and organizations intending to engage in medical services, including other health outreaches, should apply and obtain permit from the ministry. According to him, the ban was in line with Governor Peter Mbah's effort at ensuring the safety and well-being of the people of the state, adding that investigations reveal that some of the products used for medical outreaches are either expired or nearing their expiration date, and it had led to health complications of beneficiaries of such outreaches. Obis also said the ministry was concerned about the qualifications of practitioners usually engaged for the job. Officials of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Services and the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency are currently attending to a fire outbreak at the Oko Baba Plank Market in the Ebute Meta area of the state. An ex-user at Dedeji Olalekan tweeting as #StyloMedia disclosed on Sunday that the fire also affected the shanties in the market. Confirming the incident in a text message on WhatsApp, Lasema spokesperson Nosa Okumbo said emergency responders are at the scene carrying out a search and rescue operation. Minister of FCT Nyesom Wike has called for reduction in the cost of the humongous scale of industrial activities at the quarry, including the production of gravel, stone, dust and asphalt amongst others for construction of the project. The minister, who disclosed this during his visit to the Zaberst Limited Quarry, the biggest quarry located in Kubwa, Abuja, wondered why contractors still quoted exorbitant costs for construction projects in the FCT.
First of all, it is a factory in FCT, and the managing director has always invited me to come to see the factory, which is the biggest quarry in West Africa. And I've not been here before, but I'm actually glad taking the opportunity to look at the environment and see what they are doing. That shows that ordinarily the cost of construction ought not to be very expensive, particularly in the FCT. Apart from the equipment that are being imported that are used for this quarry, the raw material is available here. And I wonder why contractors will be talking about cost of aggregate as if these are imported. They are not imported, they are made here. So I really want to encourage the company. It's really amazing that we have this type of manufacturing going on here. And look at for what he said, they have over 800 persons who are working directly here. This is the same company that is trying to carry out the industrial park at Itu, and which we are going to give them all the necessary support. As at yesterday, I've sent out the letter to the Ministry of Finance to focus on the tax credit to enable them carry out the other one-way carriage to make it a double carriage, which is being done by Salidi Construction Company. I would not lie to you. I'm really encouraged what I've seen. I'm really very encouraged.
Wike expressed concerns over the environmental impact of the quarry, saying he has been reassured by the managing director of Zaberst that the environmental impact assessment has shown that the company has adhered to the approved standard.
Problem is the environmental impact assessment, which said they are up to standard, there are no problems. I think it's mind-boggling and very, very impressive. Slow as regards to cost of rent houses. I mean, it is the market forces. You are aware that there are a lot of everything has actually increased in terms of cost. If you are saying that the house has been built for years, the man who built it did not do that, he will not make profit at the end of the day. If you build a house for maybe you have $2 billion to build an estate, you don't expect that you will make money now $2 billion in 10 years' time. Probably even in 10 years' time he has gotten his money. You now want to start making a profit. I don't agree with people who are always complaining about rent increase. There are all increases in everything today. So that should not be so good at You want us to make a law to say that a two-bedroom flat should not be more than 50,000 naira, for example, or 100,000 naira. I don't think you're encouraging the investors. That's not our major problem now.
Minister of FCT Nyesom Wike has extolled the efforts to the immediate past FCT Commissioner of Police, Benedict Igwe, who was recently promoted to the position of Assistant Inspector General of Zone and the former Director, Department of State Security, FCT Command, Assistant Director General Ado Muazu, for their effective services to the FCT in combating security challenges. Wike commended security experts during a send-forth reception in Abuja, adding that their promotion is in recognition of their hard work and commitment to service to the nation.
And give God the glory that people who worked with us have today been promoted because of their hard work, because of their commitment to service to FCT and the nation in general. I've always said that people who are committed, people who make sacrifice, that I don't believe it's only when you die people will honor you. People will reward you. While you are alive and you have worked, you should be remembered. And that is why we said, these two gentlemen who have worked with us, to make all of us sleep well with our two eyes closed. It's important. We honor them. We thank them for their services. I'm not one of those who like to praise people. But when you see the reality that somebody is committed to his work, that somebody is willing to service his nation for keeping him alive, to be able to be promoted to AIG, and to come here today with his family for this recognition. The Assistant Director was very quiet, but very committed. I thank God, and I thank the new DG of the State Security Services for seeing him, finding him worthy to be promoted and for him to work at the national level. Two of them have not left FCT. The moment you do well, people will recognize you. People will thank you. Everything must not be money. This recognition, money cannot buy it. And this is what everybody will pray for, that their services are required. I want to thank other security agencies, the Major General that's there, the Brigades of Guard, the Air Force, all of you, that this work wouldn't have been easy, but for your cooperative, collaborative efforts in making sure that FCT is safe.
Earlier, AIG Benedict Igwe thanked the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike for the passion in ensuring the protection of lives and property.
As he gave the instruction, he supported us without fear or favor. He supported us with the work. And that is why, when my people called me and said, why are you always in the bush, on patrol in the night? I said, because the minister is equally on patrol in the night. The minister, you see, is equally on patrol in the night. You may not understand. That's the truth. For those who know him. Sometimes we crisscross each other. And when you are working with such a person, you should know, I'm a Christian. If you go to Psalm 121, verse 4, the Bible told me that he who keepeth Israel neither sleeps nor slumber. So I regard Abuja as my Israel, because the minister equally regarded Abuja as his Israel. Because he who keepeth Abuja will neither sleep nor slumber. If you sleep, the kidnappers will enter. If you slumber, before you wake up, the bandits will take over. That is Abuja for you. So we neither sleep nor slumber up to today that I'm standing here, including himself. Me and the Ado and the Commander Gas Brigade and our other brothers in the Security Council, we agreed to work jointly together. I want to inform Abuja residents. I am still around. I told the criminals yesterday or day before yesterday when some people were interviewing me. I am not moving anywhere. I'm around. And now that I have more powers, I don't know where you will run to. Now that I have more powers to do something, if you know where you want to pack and go, you better start now, because I am now an AIG. So I have more power now. I have more power now to safeguard Abuja, to supervise what is happening in Abuja. So I want to assure the residents and people of FCT that you are in safe hand with the Minister of FCT. As far as he's concerned, he will still give us support, and the FCT will be safe.
Youth health promotion, antenatal care, immunization services, free HIV screening, screening for diabetes, hypertension, and sickle cell diseases, as well as free dental health services, nutritional assessment, distribution of cooking gas, and fertilizers, amongst others. Flagging off the free medical outreach in the Buhari Area Council, the FCT Minister of State, Dr. Maria Mahmood, stressed that the FCT administration was fully committed to meeting not just the people's health needs, but also the needs of the residents of the FCT, the best health services. The minister used the occasion to speak on the importance of ANC attendance, exclusive breastfeeding, and immunization in preventing childhood diseases such as polio, tuberculosis, pneumonia, pertussis, as well as diphtheria, measles, the importance of screening for HIV, diabetes, and hypertension, amongst others. People's Democratic Party in Kaduna State has zoned the party chairmanship seats to Jama'a local government area of the state. These follow the decision of the Kaduna State Senatorial District Executive Committee of the People's Democratic Party, headed by the former National Legal Advisor, Mark Jacob. The resolution came after a meeting by the 9-member committee's report unanimously consented and adopted the recommendations that also zoned the PDP vice chairman and women leader positions to Kagarko and Jaba council areas respectively. The Mark Jacob-led zoning committee requested the leadership of the zone to set up an elder committee led by former Deputy Governor Ambassador Nuhu Audu Bajoga to meet with the party's chairmanship candidates to appeal to them to accept the outcome of the zoning arrangement, as it is constitutionally aimed at ensuring even and fair distribution of party positions for inclusive politics across the zone and the state at large. Zamfara state government has reacted to claims of a leaked memo alleging the redeployment of directors of the Ministry of Finance by the All Progressive Congress in the state. A statement issued by the state's Commissioner for Information and Culture, Mani Moazu Haidera Ngozu, said the recent redeployment of directors in the state's Ministry of Finance is a government prerogative and aligns with the legal framework of the civil service, which allows for officers to be transferred, deployed, or repositioned based on prevailing circumstances whenever the government deems it necessary. The state government said the APC must recognize that Governor Dauda Lawal's current leadership style is dedicated to reforming the civil service to eliminate inefficiencies and promote decency, integrity, transparency and accountability, adding that the APC should be aware that the current administration is restructuring all sectors and branches of government to make the system more effective, vibrant and results-oriented, which is an effort of Governor Dauda Lawal's commitment to better serving the people of Zamfara State. No fewer than 40 people were reported to have lost their lives in a boat mishap in Gumi town, Zamfara State. An eyewitness, Musa Ahmed, said the deceased were going to their farms in the early hours of Saturday when the boats they were in capsized and sank into the river. He said the Emir of Gumi, Justice Lawan Hassan, had sent a condolence message to the families of the boat mishap victims, adding that there were 53 farmers and children in the boat and only 12 were rescued alive, including the captain of the boat, while the remaining 41 reported dead. He told newsmen on phone that the sole administrator of Gumi local government area, Naala Musa, said the boat was overloaded. Cholera outbreak in Yola North Local Government Council in Adamawa State has resulted in the death of 4 people and hospitalizations of 36 others. The executive chairman of the council, Jibrin Ibrahim, who disclosed these to journalists during a visit to the victims at the Infectious Disease Control Center in Yola on Sunday, said the outbreak occurred in Alkalawa, Ajia and Limawa wards, and it is believed to be due to contaminated water sources and flooding, he said. The outbreak occurred in Alkalawa, Ajia and Limawa wards within the council, and 26 cases were initially recorded, but the number quickly rose to 40, with 4 succumbing to the disease, stressing that a significant number of patients have been stabilized and are receiving medical attention from health workers. The executive chairman commended the swift response of health workers, the Red Cross and international partners in addressing the outbreak, and attributed the suspected cholera outbreak to contaminated water sources, exacerbated by flooding in some areas. Ibrahim urged the public to maintain a clean environment, drink potable water, and wash vegetables and fruits thoroughly before consumption to prevent further spread of the disease. Plateau State Government, in partnership with Sight Savers International and the Health and Development Supports Program, has offered free medical eye treatment to over 250 persons living with disabilities in the state. The 2-day event, which concluded on Sunday, took place at the General Hospital in Shandam local government area under the Plateau State Eye Health Program. Dr. Joshua Yibenu, Program Officer for Eye Health at Sight Savers International, said the program aims to establish a comprehensive, affordable, accessible and sustainable eye care system in Plateau State, and commended the state government for their support and highlighted the need for the employment of health workers and the retention of retired ophthalmologists to ensure the project's continuity. Dr. Innocent Emerunwa, Program Director for HANS, said the importance of raising awareness and preventing avoidable blindness as well as common eye issues among patients, including glaucoma and cataracts, can be treated locally or referred to Jos University Teaching Hospital for specialized care, adding that the project has made it possible to perform procedures that were previously not feasible here because of a lack of personnel, infrastructure and equipment. The program demonstrates the impact of collaboration between organizations and government in addressing healthcare needs and improving the lives of persons with disabilities. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has urged Muslims in the state to promote peace as they celebrate the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. A statement by the Office of the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the Governor, Mukhtar Gidado, on Sunday, Bala Muhammad joined the faithful in commemorating the birth of the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, adding that the Holy Prophet during his lifetime preached peace, honesty, patience, generosity, humility, sincerity, as well as love for one another and fear of God. The statement also said it is the virtues of people, that people, irrespective of their religious inclinations, are enjoined to imbibe and practice, and urged all Muslims to pray for peace. Nigerian Air Force has commenced airlift missions to transport relief materials to victims of flood disasters in Maiduguri and its surrounding communities. A statement by the Deputy Director of Public Relations and Information Group, Captain Kabiru Ali, indicated that the materials donated by the Nigerian Customs Service are aimed at alleviating the suffering caused by the floods, which have disrupted the daily lives of residents, destroyed properties, and displaced millions. The airlift mission, which had the first batch of relief items comprising 300 bags of 50 kg rice, was successfully delivered to NAV base Maiduguri via the NAV C-130 Hercules aircrafts for onward house-to-house distribution. Meanwhile, NAV has launched a medical outreach initiative to support flood victims, in addition to the feeding of over 2,000 internally displaced persons, adding that the NAV's airlift mission and medical outreach are part of a broader effort to support national disaster response initiatives and highlights the critical role of military assets in humanitarian crisis. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, had directed that the operations continues as needed, ensuring that both relief materials and medical aid reach all affected areas, as the NAF will persistently collaborate with other security agencies to mobilize human and material resources for the support of flood victims. In response to the floods that have displaced thousands of people in Maiduguri, Borno State, officials from the United Nations and humanitarian organizations have pledged immediate support for the affected population. A statement on Sunday by the National Information Officer of the UN Information Center, Oluseyi Someremekun, said the floods caused by the collapse of the Alau Dam on 9th September have left thousands homeless, exacerbating an already dire humanitarian situation in Borno State. Led by Mohammed Fall, the UN President and Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, a high-level delegation of UN agencies, non-governmental organizations, and the Nigerian Red Cross Society visited Maiduguri, said the team met with affected residents, government officials, and Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Zulum to assess the damage and outline immediate support measures. The UN also said many people affected by the floods, reported to be the worst in 30 years, already had humanitarian needs prior to the disaster, having been displaced multiple times by conflict and insecurity, and are now even more vulnerable, adding that the disaster has forced thousands in overcrowded relocation sites, with many lacking basic necessities such as food, clean water, and shelter. The delegation promised swift action to alleviate the suffering of displaced families, including the provision of food, clean water, sanitation facilities, and shelter, after the floods have also dealt a severe blow to agriculture in the region across Nigeria, while more than 125,000 hectares of farmland have been destroyed just before the harvest season. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has donated the sum of 100 million naira to assist the victims of the recent flood that ravaged Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. Abubakar's donation was made known in a statement issued by his media advisor Paul Ibe on Sunday. The 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, in his visit, also paid a courtesy visit to the state governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, at the government house, where the donation to the flood relief fund was announced, while the National Emergency Management Agency said more than 23,000 households have been hit by the rapid rise of waters following the weekend rupture of the Alau Dam on the Ngada River, 20 kilometers south of Maiduguri. According to the United Nations Human Rights Refugee Council and Maiduguri Metropolitan Council residents, the flood began after the dam overflowed following heavy rains, leading to the town's worst flooding in 30 years. Nigerian Correctional Service has declared 281 inmates missing from the Medium Security Custodial Center, Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. The service said the incident occurred after an evacuation process in the aftermath of the flood incident in the state, while 7 inmates were returned to the center. A statement on Sunday in Abuja by its spokesman Umar Abubakar, the service released the details of the inmates, including their biometrics, adding that the service is working in synergy with other security agencies while deployments have been activated to look out for them. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break. Please do stay with us.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Prominent Northern leaders have blamed the scourge of out-of-school children on the failure of state and local governments to make sufficient investments in basic education. The leaders identified indoctrination and insurgency as some of the factors responsible for the millions of out-of-school children in Nigeria, particularly in the northern region. According to 2023 statistics from the United Nations Children's Fund, there are 10.2 million and 8.1 out-of-school children at the primary and junior secondary school levels, respectively, making Nigeria home to the highest number of children out of school in the world. A member of the House of Representatives, Al-Hassan Doguwa, lamented the state of the basic education in the country, adding that though the federal government has done a lot in reviewing education at that level, state governments ought to take more responsibility and urged the state governments and governors to also discharge the responsibility by their spelled-out jurisdiction as an independent tier of government by allowing the government councils to also function accordingly. Doguwa, who represents Doguwa Tudunwada Federal Constituency, Kano State, also said the rise in insecurity in the north is partly to blame on the growing number of children roaming the streets rather than being in school, and lauded the federal government's effort to address the challenge, adding that the federal government is committed through the creation of necessary legal frameworks to enable the Tinubu administration address some of the teething educational problems in the country. As Muslims observe Eid el-Mauludi tomorrow, the People's Democratic Party has urged the All Progressive Congress-led federal government to reassess all policies that negatively affect the people and focus more on citizens' welfare. This is coming after the federal government had announced Monday as a public holiday to allow Muslims to celebrate Eid el-Maulud. In a statement on Sunday, PDP's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunaba, urged the federal government to address wasteful spending, tackle corruption, and focus resources on projects that directly benefit Nigerians, and also urged Nigerians to use the occasion to reinforce their hope in the Almighty Allah for direction as well as care for one another, especially at this critical time when millions of citizens have been subjected to misery, hopelessness, and utter destitution as a result of bad governance by the APC. The opposition party encouraged Nigerians to stay calm and hopeful and to use Eid el-Maulud as a time to show love to one another while earnestly praying for divine guidance in the nation's affairs, adding that most Nigerians cannot afford to celebrate and enjoy with their loved ones on an occasion as significant as the Eid el-Maulud. The PDP council's leaders, whose decisions and policies inflict hardship and pain on citizens, to use this occasion for deep introspection. The PDP charges the federal government to end profligacies, curb corruption, and remain sensitive in prioritizing the need of the citizens by channeling resources to projects and programs that have a direct bearing on the welfare of Nigerians. We move over to business news now. Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria has blamed the low turnout for the registration point of sale operators across the country on the inability of the Corporate Affairs Commission to outline considerable guidelines. The federal government, through the CAC, had previously set a 2-month deadline for POS companies to register their agents, merchants, and individuals with the Commission in compliance with legal requirements and the directives of the Central Bank of Nigeria to reduce fraud within the system, combat kidnapping, and the payment of ransoms. The registration deadline was initially scheduled for July 7, 2024 and later shifted to September 5th, while after the registration deadline, the CAC expressed concern over the inadequate compliance with the directive, despite the large number of POS operators in the country. Reacting to the CAC's statement, the national president of the association, Sarafaddin Fasasi, described the move by the CAC to clamp down on the association members who were yet to register with the commission as illegal and frustrating. Meanwhile, Director of Press Dominic Inyang have insisted to remain silent on the matter. Analyst has described that the deal between the federal government and Dangote's refinery on crude pricing and distribution to work towards reviving the nation's refineries. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program ATN Sunday, a socio-political analyst, Emmanuel George, advocated for the maintenance and sustainability of the country's existing refineries in order to adequately ameliorate the looming hardship occasioned by the incessant hike in fuel price across the country.
Just playing politics with it. What stops the governments, the federal governments, what stops them from maintaining the existing refineries and building more refineries? When was the last time the government built a refinery, functioning refinery? Most of our young people in our mangroves, most of our young people that are in.
This is coming as the federal government have disclosed that the supply of petrol from Dangote refinery will commence shortly after both parties reached an agreement on pricing and supply. And NNPC will remain as the sole off-taker of petrol from the refinery, with other marketers getting the products from the National Oil Company. No fewer than 300 trucks belonging to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited at the Dangote refinery at the moment. NNPC spokesperson Olufemi Sonaye, who confirmed this in a video on his X handle, said the trucks were arriving in preparation for the loading of petrol on Sunday. He said trucks are arriving at the Dangote refinery in preparation for the scheduled petrol loading on Sunday, September 15, 2024. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a lawsuit against President Bola Tinubu requesting a reduction in the petrol price from 845 naira per litre to 600 naira per litre. The organization, in a suit by Seraph's lawyer, Ebun Olu-Adegboruwa, at the Federal High Court in Abuja, is challenging the president over the failure to direct the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to reverse the apparently unlawful increase in the pump price of petrol. The lawsuit also addressed the failure to investigate allegations of corruption and mismanagement within the national oil firm and listed the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, and the NNPCL as correspondents. Serap also calls for the prosecution of anyone suspected to be responsible for the alleged corruption and mismanagement in the NNPCL, provided there is sufficient admissible evidence, and to recover any proceeds of corruption, stressing that the increase in petrol prices is causing immense hardship among Nigerians. This is coming after the federal government, through the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, in Abuja, that the NNPCL will be the sole buyer of petrol from the refinery, and it will follow the national oil firm's statement that it was not the exclusive off-taker of products from the Dangote refinery, and that the refinery was free to sell its product to any marketer, stressing that the increase in petrol prices constitutes a fundamental breach of constitutional guarantees and the country's international human rights obligations. Nigerian Labour Congress has partnered with the Nigerian Bar Association to promote the rule of law and protect citizens' rights. This is coming after the Nigerian Labour Congress President Comrade Joe Ajaero visited the Nigerian Bar Association and was received by the newly elected NBA President Afam Osigwe and his team. A statement issued by the NLC Head of Information and Public Affairs, Comrade Benson Upa, disclosed that the meeting provided an opportunity for both organizations to exchange views and experiences on the importance of entrenching the rule of law and safeguarding the fundamental rights of Nigerian citizens, while discussions focused on how the labor law and legal sectors could work together to ensure that democracy thrives and that governance is anchored on justice, fairness, and accountability. Ajaero reaffirmed the NLC's commitment to working alongside the NBA in promoting the rights of workers and all Nigerians, and stressed on the importance of a strong legal presence that protects citizens from abuse, ensures the freedom of association, and upholds democratic norms. The NLC president also commended the NBA's role in defending the integrity of the legal system while expressing optimism that collaboration will lead to meaningful change in Nigeria's political and socio-economic landscape. While in his remarks, the NBA president highlighted the association's determination to uphold the rule of law and strengthen Nigeria's legal institutions, and expressed readiness to partner with the NLC in advocating for policies that respect citizens' rights and promote social justice. Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning and the Ministry of Finance says the strategic coordination of policies and payments in Nigeria, particularly in addressing national financial commitments, is being resolved with the private sector. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Bagudu, disclosed this while highlighted the ongoing collaboration between ministries to ensure that national financial obligations were met in a timely and efficient manner. Represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Dr. Vitalis Obi, the Budget Minister underscored the importance of policy frameworks in addressing issues of delayed payments to manufacturers and other critical sectors, and stressed that swift action would be taken once funds were approved for disbursement to solve pressing national issues. He said the summit provided an opportunity for top policymakers, corporate leaders, and other stakeholders to exchange ideas and build a consensus on strategic policies that will benefit the country, adding that the collaborative efforts between the government and the private sector in organizing the summits were essential for fostering Nigerians' economic development. The minister also addressed the financial strains affecting manufacturers and other sectors that rely on timely payments. National Association of Telecommunications Subscribers has appealed to the Nigerian Communications Commission for an extension of the NIN SIM linkage deadline from September 14 to September 30. The national president of NATCOMS, Deolu Ogumbanjo, who disclosed this on Sunday, said the extension was needed due to challenges with the National Identity Management Commission's portal, adding that the NCC had set a deadline for September 14, 2024 for all mobile users to link their SIMs to the national identification numbers, and stressed the importance of the NIN SIM linkage for improving digital security and reducing fraud and cybercrime. Ogumbanjo said the 2-week extension was necessary for NIMC to increase the capacity of its portal, while the telecom operators at customer centers often struggled to upload information on the NIMC portal, as well as the difficulties in uploading on the NIMS portal had frustrated the process and caused delays. He also said the development would alleviate the current difficulties and ensure a smoother experience for all stakeholders, adding that failure to pay meant the customer will not be attended to, and the agents at the center took advantage of the situation due to the crowd. He stressed that the NIN SIM linkage should be a continuous process with no set deadline, arguing that such deadlines encourage unwholesome practices. And that's a global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. We told you that NEMA speaks on impending floods. PDP vows to defend votes with blood. We also told you that VK extols 2 security experts. NLC, NBA partner on rule of law. Tanker explosion kills dozen in Haiti. Ndidi beats JJ Okocha's record. The Bunch is first Nigerian global artist. And that's it on the global news for today. I am Victor Peter. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow us on our social media platforms: Twitter Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube Atlantic Television Network, Instagram at Atlantic TV Network. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress.
From live across the